Hello, amazing people, and welcome back on this second session of our tutorial on quadratic equation. It will please you to look at what we did in the first session. Now, remember, we're still discussing the quadratic formula, how to use it. I hope you have not forgotten what we talked about. Let me quickly remind you of the formula, okay? Now, remember that the general quadratic equation is given as ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. And it is until the equation is in this form, that is when you will now talk about the formula as x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is your quadratic formula, okay? And this is your quadratic equation. Now, how do we answer this? I'm going to show you what you will do. As usual, I'm going to solve this too, and this is going to be your take home. So ensure to stay actively. To answer this first question, let's take it down. So we're going to have solution. Now what we have there is 4x squared minus 4x is equal to negative 1. Please, you have to be careful. For you to use this formula, you must make sure that the equation is in this standard form. But when you look at this, you see it's not in this form because everything should be equal to 0. It's very important. So what do? To simplify, we're going to have 4x squared minus 4x. You are going to add 1 to both sides to remove this. So if I add 1 here, I will be having equal to add 1 here is going to give you 0. So you see we have gotten something that looks like this. I can now use this formula. So to do that, let's identify our a, because what you plug in the formula are the values of your a, b, and c. So let's identify what our a is. Our a is always the coefficient of x squared. So it means the coefficient of x squared here is 4, and that is your a. So what is your b? B is the coefficient of x, and the coefficient of x here is negative 4. Did you see it? So that becomes your b. And your c is your constant term, which is 1. I hope this is clear. So let's plug this into the formula. Please don't plug in the variables as most students usually do, okay? Just plug in this. So in that case, we are going to have x is equal to negative, but your b has a negative. So the formula has a negative attached to b, but your b has a negative, so you put it in bracket. Did you see that? Then you bring down this plus or minus, introduce your square root. Your b is negative 4, so you write it negative 4 and square. Bring down your minus. 4ac means 4 times a. What is our a? Our a is 4, and our c is what? 1. Did you see that? This is all over 2 multiplied by our a is 4. So we are done plugging in. What we are going to do now is to simplify. And negative times negative is positive. So this is going to give us positive 4 plus or minus square root. Negative 4 squared is negative 4 times negative 4, which will give us 16. And negative 4 times 4 is 16 times 1, we have negative 16. And this is over 2 times 4 will give us 8. It's becoming interesting. So what do you do next? We're going to keep simplifying it to now have x is equal to 4 plus or minus. Then 16 minus 16 is 0. So we have square root of 0 all over 8. So what does it mean? This is the same as 4 plus or minus. What's the square root of 0? It is 0 all over 8. Now be careful. Some students will just say, okay, since it's 0, they will just say 4 we now add to 0. Everything is 0. So we're going to have 4 over 8. And when they simplify, they will say it's 1 over 2. And you know, 1 over 2 only is not just an answer. For it to be quadratic equation, there must be 2 values of x. So what do you do at this point? Let me show you what you do. So we're going to conclude to say that x is, you have 4 plus, take the positive over 4, and also take the negative 4 minus this over 8. Did you see that? So this is over 8. So we're going to now have 4 plus this will give us 4, and we have 4/8, which is the same thing as this. Did you see? So we are going to now have this will give us x as, this will cancel 1, and this will give us 2. So you write 1/2 and write it twice. You are writing it twice because if you still simplify this, it gives you 4/8. Did you see that? You have 4/8 for the subtraction and have 4/8 for the addition. So that is the reason you have to put twice, and you say that the value of x is 1/2 twice. And we call such roots equal roots. If you've been following our tutorial, we said that this is a kind of example of equal root or the same root, because the value of x is the same twice. Now let's quickly look at the second example. This second one is somehow tricky, but we're going to simplify it. So what do? We have what we have there is 2t minus 5 plus 4t squared is equal to 0. Now, students will just go ahead to plug this into the formula to say that their a is 2, because they always see that the one we take as a is the first number. Please, it's not because it's the first number, but it's because it is the coefficient of the one that has a power of 2. So that is what you will look out for. Okay, so to make it clearer, what you do is I will advise you to rearrange it in this form. If you watch, it is the highest power will be 2, and it goes that way. So let's rearrange it to be in this form to avoid confusion. So we're going to have 4t squared followed by the one that has t. If you watch your general, so we have, this is plus 2t, then followed by the constant, then is now in this form, and everything is equal to 0. Did you see that? So what do you do now? Let's identify our a, b, and c. So your a is, as we said, is the coefficient of x squared. So here we are using t squared. It does not mean, it doesn't change anything. Your a will still remain the coefficient of t squared, which is 4. Then your b will be the coefficient of t, just like you have it here, which is 2. And your c is your constant, which is -5. So plug this into the formula. You're not going to write x now, you replace with t, because this is for t and not for x. So we're going to have t is negative from the formula. Your b is 2, so we have -2 plus or minus square root of, what is your b again? 2 squared minus 4. Our a is 4, and our c is -5, all over 2 times, from the formula your a is 4. Did you see? So we are going to have it as t is equal to -2 plus or minus 2 squared is 2 times 2 to give us 4. Okay, now -4 times 4 is -16, and -16 times -5 will give us +80, and this is over 2 times this is giving us 8. At this point, what do? We are concluding it. So in that case, we are going to have our t is equal to -2 plus or minus. If you add this, you're going to have square root of 84 all over 8. Now at this point, you will check that the square root of 84 is not going to give you a whole number. You can choose to do it using decimals, okay? But I'm going to show you how to do it, leaving your answer in short form, because most times students may be asked to leave their answers in short form. So let me show you how you will do that. So what you are going to do is, you're going to bring out the perfect square in 84. How do you do that? Let me show you. This is 84. We're going to divide. So because it's even, 2 can divide it. 2 in 8 is 4. 2 here is 2. 2 in 4 is 2. 2 here is 1. What can divide 2 into 1? 3. 3 here is 7. And what else can go? 7 in itself is 1. Since it's square root, remember this is square root, you're going to collect in 2s. The one that appeared 2 times, you take 1. You see that these ones did not appear 2 times. So we're leaving them. So in that case, we are having -2 plus or minus. For this one, we picked 1, so that one we picked will be outside. I hope you are seeing it. Then introduce your square roots. These ones that don't have something to pair with will remain in the root. So we're going to multiply them together to give us 21 all over 8. You see? So we're having t is equal to, we can now split it to have negative 2 plus 2 root 21 over 8, or you take the negative now, negative 2 minus 2 root 21 all over 8. So let's simplify. So if you simplify this, we are going to now have in conclusion, this will give us t as, remember you cannot add these two, they are unlike terms. So what do? You can simply factor 2 out because 2 is here and 2 is here. So we can factor 2 out to now have, use 2 to divide negative 2. It will give you negative 1. Then use 2 to divide 2 root 21. It will give you plus root 21. Did you see it? And this is all over 8. Okay? So the same thing is applicable to this one. We're having 2, factor it to have negative 1. Then here will be negative root 21. And this is all over 8. So in this case, you can see that t, 2 here 1, 2 here is 4. Okay, so we're having negative 1 plus root 21 all over 4, or 2 here 1, 2 here 4, or negative 1 minus root 21 all over 4. We cannot simplify further. So at this point, we are going to leave our answer like this. Leaving it like this is leaving it as a solved form. And you see we have two different answers, and this is a kind of equation that gives us distinct roots. I hope you have not forgotten your assignment. Just give it a try to know if you really understood what we did. And if this tutorial answered a lot for you, kindly let us know how much in the comment section. Remember, you can subscribe for the more you get. Share with your friends. I will see you in our next class to talk about those ones that will lead to complex roots. Till then.